Welcome to Chat Like a Native. We're here to help you sharpen your English, sound more confident, and really express yourself with precision.
And today, we're zooming in on a word that's, well, it's super common, but maybe too common sometimes.
You mean thing.
Exactly. Thing. It seems harmless, right?
Mm.
But leaning on it too much can actually, slow down your progress.
It's true. It's kind of a safety net word, isn't it? When you're searching for the right vocabulary, thing is just there, easy.
It is easy, but that convenience, it can make your language sound a bit fuzzy, imprecise.
Maybe even a little lazy, if we're honest, because you're not quite pinning down what you mean.
That's a huge part of it, the vagueness. You say, that thing over there, and you know what you mean.
But your listener, they have to guess.
Right. You're basically putting the work of understanding onto them instead of being clear yourself.
Yeah, that makes sense. And it's not just about being understood, is it? Using stronger, more specific words, especially in, say, work or study. It just carries more weight.
Definitely. Constantly falling back on thing can sort of dilute your message. It might suggest you haven't really thought it through carefully.
And there was another point in the material we looked at that really struck me.
About vocabulary.
Yes, that relying on thing actually stops you from learning better words.
It does. Because every time you use thing, you miss a chance to practice, to actually use and remember a more specific, more descriptive word. The kind of word that makes your English sound richer.
More native-like, even.
Exactly. It's like a loop, isn't it? You use thing because you don't know the word, but you don't learn the word because you keep using thing.
So that's our mission for this deep dive. Let's break that loop. We want to give you some really practical, concrete alternatives.
Stuff you can use straight away.
Yeah. By the end of this, you'll have tools to make your English sharper, clearer, sound more confident.
And the key thing, oops, see?
Hmm.
The key idea here is that there's no single replacement. It all depends on what kind of thing you're actually talking about.
Is it something solid, an idea, a part of something bigger?
Asking yourself that is really the first step.
Okay, so let's dig into some specific alternatives then, see how they work differently. Where should we kick off?
How about the most obvious category? Physical items.
Yeah.
Things you can touch.
Right. So instead of thing, you could use
Object.
object. Okay. So can you pass me that object on the table instead of that thing?
Exactly. The definition we saw was basically a material thing that can be observed. It signals something tangible right away.
And I remember reading that object works really well in more formal settings, like academic ones.
Yeah, like describing artifacts or scientific samples. Using object there gives it a kind of precision, formal precision.
Which thing definitely doesn't have.
Not at all. Object classifies it immediately as a physical entity, sets a more descriptive tone. Useful, even outside of academia if you want to stress the physical nature.
Okay, makes sense. Physical things, object. What about item? How's that different?
Yeah. Item isn't strictly about physical things, though it can be. It's more about elements within a list or a menu or maybe an inventory. Think individual articles in a collection.
Like on a shopping list, I need to add one more item.
Perfect example. Or maybe we need to discuss the next item on the agenda. The definition was an individual article in a collection. It gives that sense of being one distinct piece among others.
So using item helps structure things, right? Especially with lists. Add that thing to the agenda is kind of loose. Add that item feels more specific, like it's one point to track.
Exactly. It brings order. It's about identifying distinct units within a set.
Interesting. So object is physical, item is part of a set or list. What's next on our list? Element.
Yes, element. This one's good for talking about components of something larger, especially something complex or maybe abstract, like a key piece or ingredient.
So trust is a key element of partnership, not a key thing.
Precisely. Element suggests it's not just random, it's fundamental, necessary. The partnership wouldn't really work without it.
And the source material mentioned it's common in technical or organizational talk, like the elements of a good plan or the chemical elements.
Yes, or elements of design. It feels like a building block, something essential that contributes to the whole structure or function.
Got it. So it's different from item, because an item is just one entry, but an element is like a core part of something.
You've got it. It's about constitution. Now, how about aspect?
Aspect. Okay, what's the focus there?
Aspect lets you talk about a particular facet or angle of a topic, often something non-physical, like a problem or a situation. The definition was a distinct part, feature, or side.
Ah, so you might say, let's consider the financial aspect of this project.
Exactly. Or one aspect we haven't discussed is the timeline. Using aspect shows you're deliberately looking at one specific dimension of a bigger subject.
Helps break things down like the tip said. Analyze them piece by piece.
Yeah, it's like saying, let's look at it from this viewpoint. It structures the discussion.
Okay, now this next one, factor, feels kind of similar sometimes, but how is it different from, say, aspect or element?
Good question. Factor is specifically about something that contributes to a result, a cause, a circumstance, an influence. Definition: a circumstance, fact, or influence contributing to a result.
Ah, the classic example being weather was a major factor in our decision.
Perfect. The weather wasn't just an aspect to consider or an element of the day. It actively influenced the outcome, the decision.
So factor implies causality or influence.
Yes, that's the key. It's huge in analysis, decision-making, explaining why something happened. You talk about risk factors, success factors, contributing factors.
Okay, this is becoming clearer. Element, core part. Aspect, specific angle. Factor, contributing cause or influence. Wow, I think it just flattens all of that nuance.
And it really does. Each replacement adds a layer of meaning immediately.
All right, let's move to one that sounds a bit more significant. Phenomena.
Phenomenon, yes. This is for observable events, especially ones that are unusual, remarkable, or noteworthy. Think an observable event, especially something extraordinary.
Like the Northern Lights example. The aurora borealis is a stunning phenomenon. Calling it a stunning thing just falls flat.
Completely. Phenomenon elevates it. It signals something worthy of attention, maybe study, something that stands out. Like the tip said, great for science writing or journalism.
A solar eclipse, a sudden change in the market, a surprising discovery. Calling them phenomena tells you they're significant events.
It sets the stage. It says this is something out of the ordinary. Pay attention.
Okay. Now what about things you absolutely can't touch? Ideas, notions.
That's where concept shines. It's your word for abstract ideas, general notions, principles. Definition: an abstract idea or general notion.
Like the concept of democracy is central to the course. You'd never say the thing of democracy.
Right. Concept immediately tells you we're in the realm of ideas, frameworks, intellectual stuff. Not physical objects. It's perfect for academic work, philosophical chat.
Understanding the concept behind something like freedom or a business strategy, it's the mental model.
Exactly. Grounds the discussion in thought, not physical reality.
And finally, the last one on our list. This feels like getting down to brass tacks. Detail.
Yeah, it really is. Detail is for a specific fact, a small piece of info, a particular feature or piece of information.
So if you need clarification, instead of, could you explain that thing, you'd ask, could you clarify that detail?
Precisely. It signals you need specifics on one small point. Perfect for proofreading, editing, getting precision, like the tip mentioned.
Focusing on the particulars, the little bits that make up the whole picture.
Yes, it highlights a single piece of information you're zeroing in on.
Wow. Okay, just running through those 8, object, item, element, aspect, factor, phenomenon, concept, and detail, you really see the difference. How much more information each one packs compared to just thing.
Each one is like a little label, isn't it? Telling you the kind of thing instantly. Physical,
Yeah.
abstract, a cause, part of a list. Thing tells you,
Yeah.
well, nothing specific.
Okay, this is fantastic information. But, for someone learning, remembering all these and picking the right one, like on the spot, that sounds tough. How do you actually do it?
That's the practical bit, isn't it? The material suggested a few steps. First off, just become aware. Look at something you wrote, maybe an email, or listen back to yourself speaking if you can. Just notice. How often do you use thing?
Just spotting it could be revealing?
Totally. Then step 2, for each thing you spot, pause. Ask yourself, okay, what did I really mean here? What kind of thing was it actually?
It's forcing yourself to dig out the real meaning behind the placeholder.
Exactly. Then step 3, choose the best fit, the most specific word. Maybe it's one of the 8 we discussed, maybe another synonym works better.
In the last step.
Check the context. Does the new word actually fit the sentence? Does it sound natural there?
Right. Identify, clarify, choose, check. Identify, clarify, choose, check.
That's the process. It's about consciously building that muscle.
And I guess like anything, the more you practice, the easier it gets. It starts to become automatic.
That's absolutely the goal. Training your brain to reach for precision first, not the easy default. And the result? Your English sounds clearer, more professional.
More fluent, You sound more confident because you are communicating more effectively.
Which is exactly what you want if you're aiming to chat more like a native speaker, right?
Yeah.
Having that richer vocabulary, that precision.
It takes you beyond just being understood to actually making an impact with your words.
Mm-hmm.
So, for everyone listening, what's the takeaway here? We've given you 8 solid alternatives and a way to start practicing.
It really boils down to conscious effort, but the payoff is huge. Clarity, confidence, it's worth it.
Definitely. And here's a little challenge, a thought to take away from our deep dive today. For this week, just try to notice. Notice when you use thing. Notice when others use it. Just build that awareness.
That's the first step.
And then maybe pick just 1 or 2 sentences this week. Something you write, something you say, and consciously swap out thing for a better word. One of these alternatives, maybe.
See how it feels.
Yeah, see how it changes the sentence. Notice the impact. Start small.
Awareness first, then practice. That's how it becomes a habit.
Give it a try this week. We really think you'll be surprised at the difference it makes. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive on Chat Like a Native.